Hey, New Life, it's Pastor Steve on the Inner Circle. Hope you guys are having a good Wednesday. I'm going to talk to you today about, I guess, something that doesn't really get discussed too much, as much in Christian circles as it used to be when I remember I was younger, but it's the subject of discipleship. In Matthew 10, verse 24, Jesus says, "Students are not greater than their teacher, and slaves are not greater than their master." And what he was saying when he said that, the reason why he said that was he was explaining to his disciples, is, hey, I'm the teacher, you're the student, you're not greater than I am, not because they thought they were greater, but he was explaining to them, says, what I am going to go through, you're going to go through. What I am doing, I expect you to also do. I expect you to follow me, learn from me, and then reproduce the things that I produce. So it's twofold. Don't expect to get out of the same things Jesus had to go through. And also, he expected his disciples to learn from him how to do what he was doing. That is the whole, basically, concept of being a disciple. And I think, at least in the American church, we've kind of gotten away from the idea of being a Christian is being a disciple of Christ, to this is just my set of beliefs. And that is not what Christianity is all about. Christianity is about following Christ. It's about making him Lord, becoming his disciple, and basically striving to follow him and reproduce the same things that he did. In that frame of thinking, it changes the whole way you approach your faith. It changes the whole way you approach your Christianity. I am struck sometimes when I'm reading through the Gospels, and when Jesus chose his disciples, they weren't just a group of people that followed him around everywhere he went and just went, wow, when he did all the things that he did, although they did say wow a lot. But he expected them eventually to go out and do the same things. In fact, there's I forget exactly in which of the Gospels, Jesus sends them out 2 by 2 and says, go and do the things that I did. Preach the gospel, preach that the kingdom of God is at hand, and heal the sick, cast out demons, and basically do everything I'm doing. And he expected them to go out and do it. And when they came back, they said, oh my gosh, we were able to do everything that you did. But he was also always bringing them into a point of crisis or conflict to reveal where their faith was. And that's where I want to focus on this morning. I'm going to focus on Matthew 8, verse 23. It's basically when Jesus and his disciples get into a boat, cross the lake that they're going over, and they get into a storm. So let's pull in at verse 23. It says, "Then Jesus got into the boat and started across the lake with his disciples. Suddenly, a fierce storm struck the lake, with waves breaking into the boat. But Jesus was sleeping. The disciples went and woke him up, shouting, 'Lord, save us, we're going to drown.' Jesus responded, 'Why are you afraid? You have so little faith.' Then he got up and rebuked the wind and waves, and suddenly there was a great calm." Now, I remember for many, many years, I would read this story, and I always felt like Jesus was being a little unfair to the disciples. I would try to put myself in their shoes, maybe Peter, he's been out fishing all his life. He's maybe not as afraid of some storms. It doesn't say he wasn't afraid, though. So this must have been an unusually violent storm to the point where they were fearing for their lives. And Jesus is literally asleep in the boat. And when they wake him up, he's a little, not perturbed at him, but saying, hey, why do you have so little faith? I expect you to handle this the way I would handle this. And I always felt like, well, if I was one of the disciples and he said that to me, I would say, listen, that's all well and good, but I'm not you. But the whole point of being a disciple is, and maybe the disciples understood this because he had chosen them, and this was something a little more common. When a teacher chose you to be his follower, it was a great honor. And also, you were considered his student, and you were expected to basically model his lifestyle, not just take in information, but to model the lifestyle. when you became a disciple of any teacher back in those days. And for them to be chosen was a great honor because they were not educated, learned men, at least most of them weren't. What's amazing is Jesus took 12 men. They spent 3 years with him, learning how to model his lifestyle. Then he's taken away, and those 12 men turned the world upside down. They had no formal training, no formal education, and they turned the world upside down, and the world literally has not been the same ever since. That is what following Christ, being his disciple, should produce in us. And I want to encourage you to start viewing your walk with the Lord from that perspective. Are you modeling the life of your teacher? Are you modeling the life of your master? This is what we've been called to. This is what he expects of us. This is how we grow in our faith. This is how we grow in our walk with God. It's not about, all the going to church is all part of the deal. That is not the end all be all of following Christ, of being a Christian. Literally, the word Christian came from, I forget which church it started. It might have been Antioch, I'm not sure, where they were starting to call the Jesus followers Christians because that meant little Christs. Basically, a whole bunch of little Jesuses were running around turning the world upside down because they were modeling the life of their master. They were literally making him Lord, and they were modeling what he did. And if you do not see that in your life, it's not just adhering to a moral code or a set of beliefs. It's, do you model the life of Christ? When you show up, are you the one that's full of faith? When you show up, do you provide the solution and the answer? Do you provide a way out for the impossible? Are you a source of miracles? And I'm saying this to myself as much as to anybody. I'm preaching to the choir, so to speak. I have not got there yet, and I want to get there. But I've just been challenged lately. The devotional I read today really hit it home for me. That is what being a disciple is all about, a little Christ, being a Christian. It's not just following and watching and saying, wow. It's not just showing up to church, although all those things are great. It's about modeling the lifestyle of your teacher, of your master. He's chosen you. He chose you first. It's a great honor. Now, will you model his life? Talk to you guys later. See you in church. Can't wait. Love you. Bye.